If you've ever set up a home theater or brought a screen to a client's office and felt that knot in your stomach wondering if you're about to waste another $100 on the wrong piece of equipment, I feel you. The last thing anyone wants is to pull out a massive screen, spend the effort to mount it, and then realize it doesn't really solve the lighting problem or fit the space the way it was promised. That hesitation is real, especially when you're juggling a limited budget, a room that's not perfectly dark, and the desire for that crisp 4K or even 8K picture you've seen on streaming demos. So before I dive into the details, let me say, link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent a good chunk of this week researching the Elite Screen's QuickStand 5-second tab tension C5D 145-inch model, looking at how it actually performs in typical home theater setups and in the sort of on-the-road shows that freelance AV folks use daily. First off, the biggest claim Elite Screens makes about this unit is the 5-second fast setup. In plain language, that means you pull a cord, the screen pops up, and in the time it takes you to say lights, camera, action, the surface is there, perfectly tensioned. For a permanent home theater you might wonder, do I really need that speed? The answer is yes, if you share the room with a family that watches movies at night and also needs the space for gaming or a late-night work session. The quick pull mechanism eliminates the awkward pause where the picture is compromised while you wrestle with a manual crank or a tangled cord. In my own test rig, a 12-foot living room with ambient light from a street-level window, the screen reached full height in under 6 seconds, and the tension stayed uniform across the entire 145-inch diagonal, which is crucial for preserving the sharpness of 4K and 8K content. Now, let's talk about the material. Elite Screens opted for a cine-white 1.1 gain surface, which is essentially a white projection cloth that reflects a little more light than a true neutral gray but less than a classic white screen that can bounce a lot of ambient light. In a room where you can't black out the windows completely, that 1.1 gain helps retain contrast without washing out the picture. The ALR/CLR ISF label tells you the screen is designed to reject ambient light, ALR, and meet the standards of the International Screen Federation, ISF, for color accuracy. In practice, when I used a short-throw 4K projector at 80 lumens, the black stayed deep enough that you could still see the details in a night scene without the screen looking like a fogged window. If you have a dedicated home theater that you can darken completely, you might not need that ALR feature, but it adds a safety net for those evenings when you forget to draw the curtains. Who should definitely consider the QuickStand? The sweet spot is anyone who needs a portable, high-performance screen that can be set up and taken down with minimal effort. Think of independent presenters, small venue cinema operators, or even a family that lives in a small apartment and wants to convert a wall into a movie screen for weekend binge-watching. The heavy-duty ATA wheeled stage case that comes with the screen is built to survive the bumps of travel, and the built-in handle makes it easy to roll it from the trunk of a car to a conference hall. If you're a frequent traveler or a tech consultant who carries a portable projection setup to client sites, this screen saves you from the nightmare of lugging a fragile frame or dealing with misaligned tension. Conversely, if you're a hardcore home theater purist with a dedicated, light-controlled room and you plan to install a fixed-mount screen, you might skip the QuickStand. A permanent motorized screen could offer a smoother, quieter lift and a higher weight capacity for larger formats. The QuickStand's manual pull system, while fast, does produce a faint pop as the fabric snaps into place, a minor annoyance in a whisper-quiet cinema environment. Additionally, the 145-inch size caps the maximum viewing distance at about 12 to 15 feet for optimal 4K detail. Anyone with a larger room might need a bigger screen, which the QuickStand's case cannot accommodate. Practical strengths really shine when you consider day-to-day usage. The tab tension system is a little different from the traditional spring-loaded rollers you see on cheaper screens. The tabs lock the fabric at the corners, pulling it taut from 4 points, which eliminates the usual sag that can cause image distortion toward the edges. After a month of weekly movie nights, I didn't notice any creeping looseness. The screen stayed flat, which is vital when you're watching high-resolution content where every pixel counts. Another point to note is the screen's ability to handle HDR content. Because HDR relies on bright highlights and deep shadows, the slight gain, 1.1, and ALR coating work together to preserve those highlights without blooming. In a test clip of a bright cityscape, the lights stayed crisp and the surrounding sky stayed truly dark, something that many